I was supposed to set this camera up and talk about a project that I wanted to start, and it turned into this whole thing. I don't even know what this is. Is this a part of the finishing touch? Maybe. I don't know. Is this Confessions of an Artist? I don't know. Maybe. I do not know the format of this video. I don't even know where to begin. And that is stressing me out a bit. I had to figure out the setup because what I want to create, I need to create on my computer. It's kind of irking me that I don't have like a proper setup of like how I'll enter this video, how I'm going to do things, but I need to just start because I can get bogged down with all of that and then just not do it. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to move forward and we're going to see if this works. Let's hope. Hold on. Okay. I think this might be better. Before it was too high. Also, the lighting looks pretty good. Also, the sound is pretty clear. The setup is not that bad. Whatever. I have this thing where I'm like, ooh, I have this idea. I have the energy to do this idea. Let me just start somewhere. And then immediately where I start is by watching other people's videos and other people creating content. And it gives me this feeling in my stomach that's close to nausea, where then I'm like, oh, I'm consuming way too much. Now I don't even feel like doing it. I felt that coming on, and I was like, Naasia, you need to get up right now and turn off these other people's content, turn off what they're doing. And focusing on other people's setup was bringing me down a little bit. So I had to just turn it off. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to start setting up. I'm just going to start. Just start it. Just start moving things around. It does not have to be perfect. Just start doing something. So this is my setup. I think it's good. Hold on. I'm going to check one more time. Okay. I checked the footage. I just needed to the camera up just a little bit because my head was touching the top of the frame. Oh god. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. Whatever. Gotta just start. I'm grateful that I've gotten to this point where I have this set up, the camera is set up. I'm feeling pretty okay. Like I feel like I'm calming down because I was getting a tiny bit worked up for what? I just want it to look good. I don't want it to look perfect. I want it to look good. I feel like I've perfected the setup that I've been using, but this is a new setup because this is a new series. So I need something where I can be on a table. I'm just going to take a couple of deep breaths because I be getting myself so worked up. Why? And it's like it doesn't have to be perfect, but it can't look like poo poo. It's like I've gotten to a point where things are looking good. I don't want to go below that. So I needed it to look okay. And as I keep doing the series, I will figure out the setup. The setup will be built. I think, hold on, let me do my deep breaths first. Let me get water. That could have easily turned into me being like, I actually don't want to do this. Like, I've lost the momentum to do this, but I'm not going to do that to myself. That just feels like an excuse to not move forward. And I no longer want to do that. Starting a project, starting something new feels so overwhelming. Am I going to cry? Probably. It just feels so overwhelming because the spirit of perfectionism be trying to take over. Perfectionism tells me that I have to be perfect even before I start, which is very overwhelming because I'm not perfect. Nobody in this world is perfect. And what has become more clear in the days leading up to me doing this is that I have to just start. It's not going to look like someone's content who has been doing this for years, or even 6 months, or even 4 months. When they started, it did not look like that. They had to keep showing up for themselves, keep getting better each time they edited a video, each time they uploaded it and watched it back and said, I can do this better next time. Moving forward, 1%. Moving forward, 0.5%. But just moving forward. I had a very enlightening conversation with one of my coworkers who is also an artist outside of being an art director. And she made that very clear for me. Like, her saying it felt like a reminder to myself. Yes, you do not have to be perfect when you start something, but you do have to start it to get to the point where you watch it and you're like, this is it. This feels good. I could have easily have been overwhelmed by the spirit of perfectionism, but it will not win today. You will not get me. I am going to start where I am at, which is good enough because it's just me. I'm not doing this for anybody else. Like, why does it have to be perfect for me? It's just me. There's no one else here. Like, the pressure. Where is the pressure coming from? And I think it's good that I don't really have a format for how these videos start. I am just doing this to document my process, to document me starting and finishing a thing. And this is a part of the process where I have to overcome perfectionism. I have to move through being overwhelmed. And I'm just so grateful that I was aware enough to see what was happening, to see me getting overwhelmed, to see me trying to make it perfect, and to step outside of that and just be like, you can just start. Like, this is perfectly fine. You're not trying to impress anyone. Like, the people who are going to watch this video understand that you're normal, that you are you, and you're doing this your way. There is no formula. Something that has come up like a week or two ago, I was hanging out with my boyfriend and we were watching the Super Bowl, and we are in advertising. So when you're in advertising, I guess that is a thing that you do where you watch the Super Bowl for the commercials and then talk about it to see which ones are good and which ones suck. And there was a moment where I was kind of just like, I don't really care about these commercials, whether they're good or not. Like, that's kind of crazy. And then he was like, yeah, it just sounds like you're not really an advertising person. You're just a person that's in advertising. And I was like, oh, that kind of took me aback a little bit where I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, no, I am just a person in advertising, but I'm not an ad person. And I really had to sit with that because hello, Future Asia here. I just wanted to pop in here because in this part of the video, I was kind of explaining what I was going through, what feelings were coming up, and I wasn't really clear on it, so I was kind of trailing off, babbling a little bit. And then I just got like distracted and completely forgot what I was talking about. So I've had time to really sit with what I wanted to say. And what I was trying to say was when I first got into advertising, I put everything to the side because I knew that this was a brand new path that I was taking, a brand new career, a brand new industry. I didn't know anything. I knew some things, but this was new. And I knew that I wanted to put 100% of my focus into this, so I put everything else to the side. My personal projects, my photography, any freelancing that I was doing, just to focus 100% on this. And I did that for like a year. I had to learn new skill sets, learn new programs, learn how to work in a group setting, learn how to work in corporate. I had to change my mindset. I had growing pains. For a year, I did that. And I think I kind of let that become my identity a little bit to where I was like, I'm an intern right now, but I'm trying to move up as much as I can. Even if it's not at this agency, like I'll go to another agency or I'll still work in this industry, but I will be moving up as much as I can. Associate, mid-level, senior, creative director, just moving up. And as I continued working at this job, that didn't really feel like what was happening. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but something always felt a tiny bit off. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it until he was like, "Yeah, you're not an ad person. You're just a person who works in advertising. This is just your job. Like this is not you're not here because you love it with every fiber of your being. This is a job for you." And hearing it like that really put it into perspective of why I was feeling so frustrated and why things were feeling off for me. I'll explain later in this video that I've been trying to find my place, and I think for a moment I thought that this was like I had finally found it in advertising. And it's in that moment it was frustrating because it hit me that this is still not the place where I belong. So yeah, that's where I was going with this. And then I like restarted the story. So I just had to come in here and just set things straight. Okay, bye. Mwah. I forgot where I was going with this, but basically he said that. And I was like, I need to process that. Something in my body is happening. So I ended up going into the room and I ended up journaling. And then I ended up crying. And I didn't realize just how frustrating things have been. How frustrating things have been because I'm 31 and I feel like I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, right? I do a lot of everything, but there isn't just one thing where I'm like, okay, this is the thing that I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna be when I grow up. That's what I'm gonna stick with. I'm gonna do this one thing and it's gonna make me money and it's gonna, like, in my head, that's how it's supposed to be. But there is no supposed to be, I guess, right? Like maybe that's been making me really frustrated because it's so rigid. It's restrictive. Like there isn't room to move around. Like I have to kind of follow that one path where it's like, stick with this one thing, do that, and that's your career. And you go in that direction and you just do that for a while, and opportunities will pop up and you'll be happy and you'll make lots of money. And it's like, maybe that isn't the path for me. And maybe I thought at one point like advertising was gonna be that for me. I don't even know. I'm actually feel like I'm processing this in real time. Like, hmm. I guess I've never really thought about it deeply enough. And that instance was the first time it popped up. And I was kind of just like, it does feel really frustrating because past couple of years I've been trying to figure out just where I belong, and it feels like I don't belong anywhere, which makes me feel like I have to build my own path, which is scary and frustrating because girl, which is scary and frustrating because I am the type of person where I would love a blueprint for what it is that I'm doing. I would love to follow the path of someone who has paved the path and be able to work it in my own unique way, right? I am paving this path for how I want my life to be, where I want it to go, building this life out as I'm living it, which feels a little scary. And a month ago, I was doing a little bit of shadow work, being introspective, digging around in there, seeing what's in there, doing a little check in. And I realized your girl got a meeting. Something that came up was fear, particularly fear of the unknown, which is crazy because all of life is unknown. Which then brought me to control. The unknown is scary because I can't control it. And this is just that's what I've been feeling. That's why it feels so frustrating. I don't know where this path will lead me. And that is a bit frustrating because I can't control it. Like I have to just let it be and let it live. And I'm working through that. I don't want to control life. I don't want to know everything that's laid out in front of me, how it's going to go, who I'm going to meet, what it's going to do, what it's going to feel like. I don't need to know all that because then life would be really boring, right? Like I want to be surprised by what life has in store for me, but I still try and hold on to the control because the control feels safe. But the control doesn't allow me to flow and be expansive because it's so tight and restrict like it's like a whole it's like a whole cycle, right? Like I feel like I always come here where I'm like, it's control, it's fear of the unknown. And then I release a little bit and I come right back to where I'm like, it's control. I'm afraid of the unknown and I'm controlling the situation. That's why it feels like this. And then I go right back around. And each time it does loosen up a little bit, but damn, you know, I realize that I am paving my own path, and that is scary sometimes because I don't know where it's going to lead. But I think it will be okay if I just keep finding joy in the moments as I'm moving forward, keep doing what I love, which is creating, keep getting inspired and acting on my ideas. And that'll just lead me to the next thing and to the next thing and to the next thing. And I may not know what that is, but I know it'll be good because everything always works out for me. I've gotten to this point not knowing that I would get to this point, and everything has worked out for me because it always does. Because the universe conspires in my favor. So I know it'll be fine. Maybe I'm not able to put a name on what it is that I do right now, but I know that I'm happy. I know that I get excited when I turn on this camera and I'm like, let's bring this idea to life. Let's go on the journey of figuring it out, right? And maybe right now, that's all that matters. Maybe I don't need to put a title on it right now. Maybe I just go with how it feels. And it's okay that I'm not an ad person. I just work in advertising. Like, this job is just fueling my dream, which is creating freely without bounds and having fun. Being able to afford the tools in order to do that, being able to have resources in order to do that. And maybe right now that is okay. I don't have the bigger picture, and maybe that is okay. But it's scary. It's scary. But if that's okay, right? Because if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough.
The thing is this, bitch, you think it's small. We need to be thinking big. You need to be thinking big, bitch. You need to be thinking big, bitch. Think big, bitch.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe right now this is enough. But I'm going to start and I'm going to take little baby steps forward. And that's enough. So, oh, ciao. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I was supposed to set this camera up and talk about a project that I wanted to start, and it turned into this whole thing. I don't even know what this is. Is this a part of the finishing touch? Maybe. I don't know. Is this Confessions of an Artist? I don't know. Maybe. I'm just going with the flow, y'all. I'm just going with the flow. I don't know. But that's what needed to come out. I'm just gonna sit with that, and I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna eat, and then I will come back to actually work on the project that I wanted to work on.